Yo. Oh my god, it's been so long since I made a video that I've practically lost all of my on-screen confidence. I feel so shy right now, that's why I was just laughing like an idiot. Okay.
All right, let's do this one last time.
What brought me back? If you're part of the 2 to 5 people that keep a track of stuff I do, you know that every year I tend to post something cool on my birthday. But because of work, I'm not having enough time. This year, I'm going to be making a Blender tutorial on how to make cool camera animations because I recently did this job for Sophie Powers alongside with Movie 3D, and a lot of people thought this camera animation was sick or how I do camera animations in general is sick. And yeah, I just thought, you know what, let me just make a tutorial on how to do stuff like this.
I'm literally doing this, like editing this video on my actual birthday. So,
and I haven't done this part in so long, bro. I feel so shy right now. Composure. Once again, my name is Olamide Madi. I'm a video editor, visual effects artist, and 3D artist from Lagos, Nigeria. Let's get straight into this video, bro. So I'm going to make a quick video that covers the quick basics of what you need to know. Then I will then link an extended full, mostly uncut video of this tutorial, which you can follow if you actually want to know the advanced. So let's just get straight into this. In this thing, I have a character I've imported in from Fortnite Importing. It's a tool that allows you to import any character from the Fortnite game files with the animations or whatsoever. So I have brought in Spider-Gwen with her default lobby pose she does when she's in the Fortnite lobby. So now, even working with something that's already animated, or even if it's a stationary thing, you're going to want to have to come here to playback and make sure you set it to frame dropping. It's by default on play every frame. Always make sure it is on frame dropping so that you are not, animating, and maybe it's a little bit heavy for your PC to preview, so it's slowing it down and then you are animating with that pace, and then when you then export it, you see that why is my animation moving really fast or whatsoever. That is to avoid that issue. Then before I start, I always do this. I just pull this out, then I pull this out. I make sure I have my timeline here, my main viewport here where I move things. This is for the camera, this is for my graph editor. So what you're going to want to do is just create a collection and I just call it media. I call my stuff like this now because of it. You don't necessarily have to use the character I'm using. You can use any other character from somewhere like Mixamo, Acube, anything. You just put something and then move the camera around it and you still get the same results. I'm going to first of all create a camera. Just call that cam1. It's cam1_1, doesn't matter, whatever you name it. I set this to the camera view from here, and then I go to the camera data, object data properties, whichever one. Set the pass without to 1, right? And my camera is here. And because of this weird rotation that comes in with the camera, whenever I bring in the camera, I press Alt-G and Alt-R, which completely resets the rotation and the position if there's any on it. Then I press RX90, and then I'm going to bring this up. Hold on. Bring this up, bring this backwards, bring this like this. And yeah, for my camera view scene, I'll turn off overlays so that it's just clean, and I mainly have also just maybe press T to hide this. I actually like to keep this around. Then I just try to frame my camera the best that I want to frame it. So for this one, I want to use a really intense camera view or shot. Yeah, so I'm going to set this second timeline to be my graph editor. And this is basically where I edit the graphs for, whatever animation data properties being changed. So now that we've done this quick setup, right? It could just be a close-up on anything you put in your scene, doesn't matter. We're going to want to go to this object properties, right? Have the camera selected. And I just want to do a quick lighting. Maybe I just quickly set it, okay, it's already on the EV. Okay, so I just did some quick messy lighting. And then we have this. So I'm just going to set my keyframes to like 35, right? Good. So the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to select our camera. And I'm going to go to the object properties, I to this, and then move to frame 35, which by pressing the shift and forward and right arrow, then press I to this, right? Then I just move forwards like this. Maybe just move like this, press I. Move in. Maybe I'll make this more intense, and then I'll make it wider with my focal length. Maybe I'll use a focal length of 35 so that it feels wider. And I'm going to punch in more. Not too much so that it doesn't start to clip because it's really close to the face. And then when you press play, you notice the motion just feels really bad. I don't know how to explain it. Let me put it in a clearer view. Like, you notice that it starts, how would I explain it? Oh, let me fix this clipping issue. All right. Okay, so we open up the graph editor from here. Graph editor, we tick the normalize, and you press middle click and control, hold control down, press middle click. It'll help you squeeze, like stretch or reduce this thing. And then you notice this graph, right? This shape determines how your camera is going to move from one point to the next. This is point 1 and this is point 2. So you're telling Blender, oh, from point 1 to point 2, this is how the speed of my camera is going to be determined, depending on how this line is shaped. So if you notice, by default, when you make keyframes in Blender, it starts slow, builds up speed midway, and then starts to slow down before it finishes. Like after the midway point, it starts to slow down again, which creates this sort of like reverse S curve. So, and that is what a lot of beginners just do. They just create one keyframe from another to another keyframe to another keyframe, and everything is just following this default movement that comes with Blender, and then the animation camera motion just looks really bad and weird. So one thing now that could even work and make this camera motion just good for this kind of camera movement, right? Like you're punching out, you can just highlight the 2 keyframes, right click interpolation mode and set it to linear, and you notice when you play, it feels way better. Like it makes it easier for you to move to the next camera angle because you're just moving at the same speed from beginning to end. And if you have like a couple of shots where everything is moving at the same, like sort of like momentum or motion from beginning to end, constant speed beginning to end, whether it's moving really fast but it's constant, or it's moving really slow and it's constant, it makes it easier for you to flow clips from one to the other. And so that's, and it's represented by the line, the straight line we see here. It's just a straight line. There's no curve up here so that it's slower, or curve down here so that this middle part is faster. So now you notice that if we should highlight these 2 things and we set it back to Bezier, we have more control. We can determine what we want to be slow and what to be fast. So what you're going to want to do now is that you're going to select these 2 and you press V and you select vector, right? Or you can just undo that and select the both of them, right click, go to handle type and set it to vector. By default, you are given the auto clamps, right? And what that one does is that when you adjust something, it's going to affect the one behind here. So if I should come here, right, and I maybe do this and insert a keyframe, right, you see that when I, when I select this and I'm adjusting it, it's affecting this bottom side. Let's say I let this bottom side, and also when I affect this other side, it's affecting the other one in front of it, and we don't really want that to happen. So we're going to just make sure we highlight our keyframes that we are tweaking, we right click and we set the handle type to vector, or just press V and select vector. And once you do that, what you want to go do is that you're going to do this, right? We're going to drag this like this and do this way. And what we've just done is that we've created a graph to make the camera push out really fast and finish off really slow. As represented by this, it starts really fast and slows down towards the end. Kind of like a skateboard ramp where, the skater, as it's coming down, gravity pulls him down fast. So the momentum pulls him down fast. And then once he's midway, he's moving at pretty basic speed, and then he tries to gain more momentum before he climbs back up the ramp again to gain the momentum to turn around and then move down really fast. So that's just practically, you move out fast and you finish slow. And you could do it the opposite way, where you drag this like this and you straighten this like this, right? And then what that does is that it starts out really slow and goes out fast towards the end. And this is really intense. You can just reduce it this way, and that way it builds up over time. And you see towards the end, it goes fast. It's slowly coming out as fast. So you notice the tighter you make this by dragging it forward and by dragging this down to make that curve tighter, the tighter you make that curve, the more intense the impact is going to be. So if you have a really harsh beat and it's not, and the movement is still in a way whereby the viewer can perceive what you're trying to make their brain feel. You're going to, just, or if I should ease it out and drag this like this, you're going to see it go like, see that? And then we could do this fast, slow in the middle, which is like the default, but it's more intense. Slow in the middle, and then fast again. And so it starts out fast, slow in the middle, and fast again. Fast, slow in the middle, fast. So it comes out fast, slow in the middle, fast again. This is usually good for when you're editing to the beats and stuff like that, or if you're trying to create an impactful movement with the camera, depending on the art direction of what you're doing requires. So we could then, and if you notice, it's similar to the default, which is slow, fast, slow. It's just that one starts the default Blender, graph movement, which is like slow, fast, slow, which is, it feels cool, but in a way, when you spam it, it can really feel robotic and lifeless. So this is just basically how you tweak your graphs to get really, really good camera movements or camera motion in Blender. And I'm going to now extend my movement so that you can see just how cool this is. Right, I'm just going to go to around 70. I'm just going to clear all these keyframes. And I'm going to start out really far away from her, like a little bit further away from her, like something like this, right? And I'm going to insert a keyframe. Then push back out, push out a little bit, just a little bit. I might even start it out being, a little bit more punched in. To insert your keyframes. Then go here again. What I'm not going to do now is I'm just going to go shift right click to go down here, and I'm just going to push down here like this to create a cool motion. So insert my keyframes. So this is just going to show you the workflow of when you have to work with different sort of like what's that word? Variables. So what I'll now do now to make this even more complex so that you can just see how to combat issues you might come across is that I'm going to go into the rotation here and go right? And go in here and do I might even to insert my keyframes. So I'm not going to, I think I might even push in a bit more, right? And then rotate this backward, downwards, a little bit downwards like this. Then take this up like this, right? Then maybe push in a bit more. Then take this downward a bit. So take this downward a bit to frame what I need to be framed. To insert keyframes. To insert keyframes, right? Then I think I'm going to, I want to rotate, but it seems like rotating is not really centering it across where I want it to be centered. So I think I just rotate it a little bit like this. And I might just adjust the position a bit here just to see it have the intended effect I need it to have. Just to have, things be centered and stuff like that. I'm going to press I. And when I play that with the default Blender settings, this is what we're going to get. Okay. Let's make this cooler, right? So the first thing we're going to do now is my camera is selected, right? I'm going to hit this here to bring all of this out. So this contains everything linked to your object that's currently being selected. It contains all the properties that are being animated. And so what we're going to do now is just highlight everything. Hold on. Highlight everything. Press V and make sure they are vectors, right? Then I'm going to turn them off. And we're going to start working on that now. We're going to select this. So this only has motion from here to here. And since I want it to come out really fast from her face, I'm going to make it fast at the start, then slow down towards the end, right? Don't need to turn that off. Go to the Y, make that, you can even just press Ctrl Space to make it bigger. So since I already know what I want to do in my head, make that start at the fast, make that slow towards the end. And from there, I can just make tweaks from that point on. Go to the Z location. And from what I'm seeing here, Ctrl Space to go back, the Z location, doesn't get affected until this point when it starts to come down. So I'm just going to leave that for now. I'm going to turn it off. Going to go to the X rotation, confirm, and then I'm going to make that start fast, go slow at the end. So they are all the same. Start fast, go slow at the end. Start fast, go slow at the end. You could literally like highlight them at the same time, but like multiple ones, like they usually tend to, you know, have opposite direction. So you can't really tweak their graphs in the same way. So I just usually prefer do it one by one. Now the Z rotation doesn't have any value change, so we don't need to deal with that. You can just turn that off completely. If I select this two, you notice that they're just going in the opposite direction. One's going like this, one's going like this, based on how their axis is turning and stuff like that. So one that could probably work for that is probably this and this, but they are on different ends. So I couldn't actually do it at the same time, because there are cases where you can actually, like if I should go to this Z location and probably maybe take it up like this, and I press I. Hold on, no, I take it down like this, and I press I. You notice that I could actually adjust it to match the shape of this one, and I could select both of their controller. Hold on, both of their controller, and take them up or down like this. But in this case, we can't do that because, you know, they're not the same value or being moved at the same time. So if we play that, this is what we're going to have, right? This is what we're going to have. So we already have the first intense motion, which sort of like comes out like this. I might even want to turn it downwards a bit more. Since I've already made the graphs, there's not gonna, what's that word? There's not gonna be an issue, right? Just gonna do this like this. I. Okay, looks like I have to adjust something now. Rotation needs to be adjusted. Okay, yeah, this is where the culprit is from. You notice there's a weird bounce before it goes back to normal. You have to make sure they are aligned. Like one does not go lower than the other, unless you go, or higher than the other, unless you're going to get weird effects. So it's going to come out, and then we're going to have it transition into this point. So to have it transition into this point, here's what we're going to do now. We're going to turn everything off. For it to go from up to down is the Z location, right? So I'm going to turn on the Z location right here, okay? And this is the value, as you can see. So now we want it to actually start fast and end slow. But if we do that, you'll notice that it's going to be very abrupt. Like it's going to feel like if it was to the beat, it will feel okay. Like if we're editing it to a song or to the beat of a song, it would be okay, right? As you can see. But what I want to do here is that I want it to start a little bit slow first, like this. And then I'm going to drag this like this to make it more intense, so that that speed comes in on time. And when you do that, you're going to notice this is what we're going to get, which makes it feel like it feels like it's flowing, because by making it start abrupt at first, it's created a harsh transition into that motion, in the sense that the initial motion starts out fast and ends slow. So by starting it fast again, just like that, it breaks up and it feels out of sync. But by making it start a little bit slow at the tip before going into that fast motion, by giving it time to build a little bit of momentum, you're going to make that transition feel smoother. So you're going to start fast, slow, slow to fast again. And that's why it feels better when we do it this way. And to even make it even better, since we've hidden everything, we can just select it and move it like maybe 1, 2, 3 frames a bit ahead of its initial position. Then we turn on the other ones, right? Oh God, they're being moved as well, weirdly enough. I don't know why. But I'm just going to make sure it's on alone is selected, right? Just going to Z location, make sure that Z location is selected alone. Then just move it. Okay, no, just do, okay, what we do is select that G location, right? Just GX, just move it a little bit, or 1 to 3 times, like 1 to 3 frames, like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's just move it a bit. And make sure that you're not moving everything together. That's why I want you to select it from here. I'm going to show you again one more time, right? Issue again one more time. It's back to its initial position. We're going to make sure that the Z location is selected, the up to down. Then just click on it once, GX, 2, 3, and you split it from the rest. And by doing that, it's going to have it. It's going to come out. And you notice that if we move it a little bit backwards, like let's just say a little bit more, it's going to sort of even transition smoother because we're giving it even more time, and the fast motion isn't really happening till around this point, and it's, you know, going to blend in better with the already slowing down initial motion. And that's just how you know, make really good camera animations in Blender. And we might even do something in a way whereby we go to this first initial parts and we just make them, what's that word? Let me turn off the Z location. Let's go to this first initial parts. Just highlight them. Yeah, rotate. You can also rotate it like this. You can just make them even, what's that word? You can just make them even like better. G, and just pull it like this. And by doing this, we make it start a little bit slow, right? Instead of just abruptly starting fast, just make it start a little bit slow, then moves fast, right? Let's rotate it a bit. Then GX, start a little bit slow, move fast, and then transition into that part of slow to fast. So yeah, this is my graph. You can just see how the motion goes slow, fast, slow, and then we turn on the Z, and then it goes. The Z goes, what's the word? Slow, fast, slow. And yeah, it's just a matter of you. The reason why I'm doing this slow, fast, slow is because there's no song, and so it looks more natural when I just have things like progressive over time. And yeah, that's just practically how you manipulate keyframes to get really good results. You know, don't forget you can do your linear straight motion and it could look good. Sometimes all you just need is a simple linear pushing and push out that's just going at a constant speed from beginning to end. Or you just need to do a fast to slow or slow to fast, all that kind of stuff. And what's that word? It's all just in the graph editor, and that's where all the magic happens. You drag things up, drag this down, you move it closer to the base, it's slower, you move it further away from the base, you create a faster effect. And yeah, that's it. And if you're curious enough to want to know more advanced techniques, you're going to find the link to the full length, you know, extended version of this tutorial. That is for the people that actually want to learn the more slightly complex movements or to have more control over their movements. And I'll just link that down below. You can just go and get that and download it and watch it if you want to. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, put them down below. And you can also buzz me on Instagram and I can hop on the Discord call and try to see where you're having issues and we can go through it together. Thanks for watching. Peace out.